Brian Mudd, and this is the cheat sheet for Tuesday, September 27th. A chill ran through all the technology world yesterday, and the retail world for that matter too, and it came from the least likely of companies, Apple. I mean, if there's anything that turned out to be recession-proof, it was Apple. The news not good. When you take a look, one of the ways that we track how Apple is going to be doing in future sales, how many parts are they ordering from the companies that go into making things like the iPad and the iPhone and the MacBooks and everything else? News not good. The shipment orders on the parts for iPads for the fourth quarter came in what looks to be about 25% lighter than some people had anticipated. Now, make no mistake, Apple is set to sell a ton more iPads heading into the holidays this year than they did last year. But the pacing might be slowing down. This obviously is not phenomenal news for Apple, but more to the point. Apple has been red hot. It has been recession-proof. It has continued to raise and raise and raise its sales. If even they are starting to see some of the edge come off of the consumer demand, it might not be a good sign for overall holiday sales. We've already heard from Toys R Us, who said that they're going to hire 5,000 fewer employees than this time last year. 51% of companies that could potentially hire for seasonal workers are planning to do so. A lot of the news surrounding the Christmas shopping season has not been good, and this doesn't help matters a whole lot. Meanwhile, there is some hot technology news here, and this is all about the Droid. Droid does smartphone sales. For the first time ever, we see that more than 1 in 2 smartphones being purchased is a Droid device. Coming out of the second quarter, Android had about 48% market share. We now, as of the end of last month, are up to 56% market share for new smartphone sales for Droid. iPhone stayed exactly the same at 28%, which is a very strong number for them given that they have one phone, but they did not grow market share while Android did. And who did Android do it at? The expense of BlackBerry. 2 years ago, BlackBerry made up about 48% of all smartphones being sold in this country. A year ago, it was in the high 20s. Right now, let's go back, second quarter, 18%. Right now, it's down to 9% market share. So Droid stole all of those BlackBerry sales. That's where it's coming from. And BlackBerry, it's almost dead. Research in Motion better figure something out pretty quick. Meanwhile, we do have new tablet news. I've been mentioning that Amazon was going to come out with the tablet at some point. We got more information yesterday. It is going to be called the Kindle Fire. It's going to come in a bit smaller than an iPad. Rather than the 9 to 10-inch iPad, the Kindle Fire will actually be a 7-inch tablet, so it's kind of somewhere between a tablet and a smartphone size, and it looks like it's going to mainly do a lot of the things that the BlackBerry Playbook had done, but the big difference is it's an Amazon product, and that means it's probably going to be more functional than, I hate to dump on the Research in Motion guys, but the BlackBerry Playbook, which has been a tremendous disappointment. We look for more information coming out about this soon, but we should have information about pre-orders within the next couple of months or sooner about the Kindle Fire. Meanwhile, we see that 45% of all checking accounts now come with strings attached, namely fees, 45%. There are a couple things I want you to look for. Number one, any statement that comes in the mail from your bank, read it, because a lot of fee notices are going out. If you don't pay attention, and then you don't pay attention to your account, you might just have anywhere from like $5 to $15 a month creeping its way out of your checking account. Look, most of the major banks, if you either have a minimum balance at a certain level or multiple accounts, you can avoid it. I'll tell you one of the simplest ways to get around these fees. Most of the major banks, if you have automatic direct deposit into that checking account, will let you at least reduce the fees. Some will eliminate. Here's the other big way to avoid these fees other than multiple accounts, which might be a good idea for you. Seek smaller banks. A lot of these regional and smaller, your community banks, are not subject to the same FinReg, the financial regulations that are going in place for the big banks via the Dodd-Frank bill that became law that's still being written. With them not having to deal with quite as much regulation, a lot of them are able to continue with free checking accounts. So smaller banks or multiple accounts in direct deposit, those are the top ways for you to avoid checking account fees. Could Groupon have already peaked? Possibly. Get this, we're nearing the IPO, right? I mean, they delayed it already, but they still plan on having like this huge, bajillion-dollar IPO. Their chief operating officer left yesterday. And that was a complete surprise. So if Groupon is red hot, if they're getting ready to have billions of dollars worth of their shares purchased in the open market via an IPO, why would the COO, Chief Operating Officer, be leaving? Doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. Maybe Groupon invented the concept, but others like Living Social are starting to do it better. By the way, Buffett, he's buying for the first time ever. Well, Buffett, and I'm not sure what this says about the market, or maybe it's just a stock, but Warren Buffett has been known as going out there and finding deals and buying other companies and adding them to the Berkshire Hathaway portfolio. For the first time ever, and this goes back to 1965 when Berkshire Hathaway started trading their shares, Warren Buffett is actually not buying another company, he's buying his own. He's buying back Berkshire Hathaway stock. So, I don't know. All right, that's the cheat sheet for today. We'll see you tomorrow.